I'd like to introduce you to someone truly remarkable, a poet and novelist whose work resonates deeply. Her name is Han Gang. If you search for her name, Han Gang, you might come across the Han River, which flows through Seoul. That's because Han is her family name and Gang means river. Though she was teased about her name as a child, but today people appreciate its beautiful dual name. Here's an episode from her college days. Most of what her friends would say to her was, "Are you okay?" or "What's wrong with you?" 괜찮아? Because she often seemed lost in thought with sad eyes. Whenever they asked, she would simply reply, "I'm okay." 괜찮아. Eventually, she started saying, "I'm okay," even before anyone asked. The Swedish Academy announced on October 10 that author Han Gang wins the 2024 Nobel Prize in Literature. She was praised for her intense poetic prose that confronts historical traumas and exposes the fragility of human life. After the announcement, Anders Olsson, chair of the Nobel Committee for Literature, presented the new laureate. He said, "She has a unique awareness of the connections between body and soul, the living and the dead, and in a poetic and experimental style has become an innovator in contemporary prose." I was so pleased to hear this news and wanted to share her work with all of you. Han Gang has written many works, but she gained international recognition when she won the Man Booker International Prize for The Vegetarian. The novel tells the story of a woman who chooses vegetarianism as an act of resistance against violence. The novel's original title is 채식주의자, and the English title, The Vegetarian, is a direct translation of this Korean title. The main character, Young-hae's surreal dreams about meat reveal her psychological struggle and resistance to societal norms. As she distances herself from meat to reject violence. On the barn floor, my eyes flashed, reflected in the puddle of blood. Chewing on something that felt so real, but couldn't have been. It couldn't. My face, the look in my eyes. My face, undoubtedly, but never seen before. Or no, not mine, but so familiar, nothing makes sense. Familiar and yet not. That vivid, strange, horribly uncanny feeling. 헛간 바닥, 비웅덩이에 비친 내 눈이 번쩍였어. 그렇게 생생할 수 없어. 이빨에 씹히던 날고기의 감촉이, 내 얼굴이, 눈빛이. 처음 보는 얼굴 같은데 분명 내 얼굴이었어. 아니야, 거꾸로 수없이 봤던 얼굴 같은데 내 얼굴이 아니었어. 설명할 수 없어. 익숙하면서도 낯선 그 생생하고 이상한, 끔찍하게 이상한 느낌을. Following The Vegetarian, she published another representative work, Human Acts, in 2014. Although the Nobel Prize is not awarded for a single specific book, the announcement in the award speech seemed to allude to this book. In fact, the novel's original title is 소년이 온다, The Boy is Coming. This novel is a work of fiction centered around the May 18 Gwangju Democratic Uprising, 5.18 Gwangju 민주화 운동, which was a pro-democracy movement led by the citizens of Gwangju in 1980. They met their death while demanding the withdrawal of the military regime and the lifting of martial law. Before writing it, she conducted a thorough research and investigation to fully capture the spirit of May in Gwangju. She read the May People's Uprising historical records, which contains testimonies from 900 people. The protagonist of the novel is modeled after Moon Jae-hak, a 16-year-old high school freshman who died at the Jeonnam provincial office, the last stronghold of the citizen. He is known as the youngest citizen soldier. She also visited the boy's grave many times and listened to stories about him from his mother. By some twist of fate, the boy's house is just 280 meters from where Han Gang lived as a child, and both individuals lived in the same neighborhood from 1978 to 1979, unaware of each other just 1 year before the uprising. The following quote particularly well expresses the characteristics of poetic prose, along with the novel's central themes. The spirit of the dead boy reflects on his own death and the bullet wound that ended his life. I think of the festering wound in my side, of the bullet that tore in there, the strange chill, the seeming blunt force of that initial impact, that instantly became a lump of fire churning my inside, of the hole it made in my other side where it flew out and tugged my hot blood behind it, of the barrel it was blasted out of the smooth trigger, of the eye that had me in its sights, of the eyes of the one who gave the order to fire. 썩어가는 내 옆구리를 생각해. 거길 관통한 총알을 생각해. 처음엔 차디찬 몽둥이 같았던 그것. 순식간에 뱃속을 휘젓는 불덩이가 된 그것. 그게 반대편 옆구리에 만들어 놓은 내 모든 따뜻한 피를 흘러나가게 한 구멍을 생각해. 그걸 쏘아보낸 총구를 생각해. 차디찬 방아쇠를 생각해. 그걸 당긴 따뜻한 손가락을 생각해. 나를 조준한 눈을 생각해. 쏘라고 명령한 사람의 눈을 생각해. Is there a line in the book that affected you? For me, it was the below quote. It's still in my head now. Who killed me? Who killed my sister? And why? Now there is no such thing as bodies for us. Presumably physical proximity is no longer necessary for the two of us to meet. But without bodies, how would we know each other? Would I still recognize my sister as a shadow? 누가 나를 죽였을까? 누가 누나를 죽였을까? 왜 죽였을까? 이제 우리한테 몸이 없으니 만나기 위해서 몸을 움직일 필요는 없을 텐데. 하지만 몸 없이 누나를 어떻게 만날까? 몸 없는 누나를 어떻게 알아볼까? Like this quote, the author's deep exploration of the body, 몸, and soul, 혼, is echoed throughout the novel in various variations. Her father, who is also a novelist, praised this novel for noting that she did not write an accusatory or resistance novel about the May 18 uprising. Instead, she tried to portray the tragic circumstance of people and speak about human existence. Imagine this. What would it be like if a novelist sang a song? In response to the reporter's question about what led to the creation of the song, she said, "One day I heard a song in my dream. It was just 2 lines, but I couldn't forget it. So I wrote down the lyrics and the notes. Then, one by one, I started creating songs." In 2007, she included 10 songs as a supplementary section at the end of her essay collection, 가만 가만 부르는 노래, a song to sing calmly. Let's listen to just a little bit. If you want to hear more, click the link in the upper right.
내 손으로 녹여서 강물 되게 해줄게.
As you can see from the lyrics, 한강 is also a poet. This is her first poetry collection, 서랍에 저녁을 넣어두었다. I put the evening in the drawer, published in 2013. One late evening I was watching steam rise from the rice in a white bowl. That was when I knew something had passed forever. Even now, it's passing forever. I should eat. I ate. In this poem, she gazes at the steam rising from the rice and realizes that something has passed forever. But rather than being overwhelmed by loss and sadness, she accepts the passing of time and the emotions she must let go. The final scene, in which she quietly but forcefully acknowledges the inevitability of life, leaves a deep impression. 어느 늦은 저녁 나는 흰 공기에 담긴 밥에서 김이 피어 올라오는 것을 보고 있었다. 그때 알았다. 무엇인가 영원히 지나가 버렸다고. 지금도 영원히 지나가 버리고 있다고. 밥을 먹어야지. 나는 밥을 먹었다. Lastly, I would like to share with you an interview exchanged via email just a few days before the award announcement. The interviewer asked about the mental landscape she perceives in the moment of writing. Her answer was concise but intense. In my heart, where a tiny spark burns, where a sense of life, similar to an electric current, surges. 심장 속 아주 작은 불꽃이 타고 있는 곳, 전류와 비슷한 생명의 감각이 솟아나는 곳.
너의 뺨에 살얼음이 내 손으로 녹여서